I'm Plami. And the fact that it has taken me so long to actually sit down and review this episode should probably tell you how I actually feel about it. And spoiler alert, I didn't really enjoy it that much. I mean, I guess that's a little bit of a misrepresentation of the situation there, because as I was watching this episode, I was for the most part like enjoyed. Like that has been the case for almost every single episode this season. I've enjoyed them for the most part just fine. It's not the content of the episodes itself that has been bothering me. It's just the speed at which that content has been given to me. It's what's bothering me. But we're gonna get into that later. So yeah, again, I've the episode has grown on me a little bit, but I was really pissed off after watching this episode for uh, reasons which are actually very similar to the reasons why I hated Fear the Walking Dead's seventh episode of the sixth season, which I reviewed on my channel, so you should go and check it out. Yeah, there's very similar issues with this episode that episode had. With the additional issue that I just mentioned, where it's just been taking so long for everything this season to happen. And it's really even pissing me even more off. That has pissed me even more off after watching the mid-season finale. And I'm not gonna say anything more about it, it's just that it has pissed me off even more in that regard. But yeah, I don't really plan on doing this review in the usual way of just like doing a recap. So I guess a better way to go about it, because it's been like a week and a half, so I don't really remember everything that happened in the episode, so I don't really think I can do a proper recap of it. So I guess the better way to go about it is, I guess, to point out the things that I liked about this episode, and then completely destroy it with the things that I hated about it. So I guess let's start off with the things that I liked about it. I think the thing that I liked about this episode the most is the continuation of the Commonwealth storyline, with my favorite moment of the episode being Eugene punching that piece of shit guy from the Commonwealth, which, for those of you who don't know, it's technically a spoiler, his name, but his name is Sebastian. That's all I'm gonna say about it. Just don't Google it. Don't Google it. If you haven't read the comic book, don't Google it, so you don't get spoiled about the possible storylines that are gonna happen this season. So yeah, he punches Sebastian, and it was really fucking satisfying, especially coming from Eugene. Like, it literally made me flash back to when Abraham punched Eugene into the fire truck back in season 5. Man, it's been so long. I really wish to sit down and rewatch this show again. I will at some point. Probably once the show is finished properly, but we'll see. We'll see. Depends. If you guys want to see more reviews of The Walking Dead, I could do that sooner rather than later. That's always the thing. If there is a demand for it, I'll do it. So yeah, the Commonwealth storyline is still going pretty enjoyably with Eugene and everything. It's bothering me a little bit how they keep on harping on how Tommy is a doctor and how nobody can know that he's a doctor. And it was really fucking annoying having Yumiko ask and keep mentioning it in such a loud voice. Like, shut up! Like, just shut up! And not only because it's dangerous, and it's clearly dangerous, because there's gotta be an important reason why he hasn't revealed that fact to anybody, that he is a doctor. But, like, he even called her out, I'm pretty sure, in one of the previous episodes, about still trying to run his life. So, she has no right to ask him to be a doctor, even if he could help millions of lives. He doesn't have to, if he doesn't want to, at the end of the day. The greater good doesn't win over the personal one, in this case. So that also bothered me. Out of the Commonwealth arc, I've actually surprisingly enjoyed Lance Hornsby. Like, I obviously expected to enjoy Mercer a lot, and maybe we still will. uh, get a lot of cool moments from him and enjoy him a lot, because I've seen a lot of people hype him up as this really cool character, because I haven't read the comic books myself. I've just read the Wikia pages. So I don't have really like a one-to-one experience with the characters and how cool they are, but I've heard about a lot of cool things about him, but we haven't really gotten much from him, so I can't really judge whether he's a good character or not. But so far, I've just ended up enjoying Lance Corby much more, and I actually did not expect that, because he seems like a very sleazy politician kind of guy, and he very much is. But his actor, whoever he is very entertaining in that role. Like, I don't know why, he's just so fucking entertaining. So I can't wait to see more from him and where that character is going to go. What else did I enjoy in the Commonwealth storyline? There was a nice moment between Ezekiel and Princess, and it's funny to me how she still hasn't found out that he called himself King, because they really hit that back in season 10. But I really liked the little moment between them. It was cool. And then when Ezekiel brought them back some lollipops, that was pretty funny. I really like that. Is there anything else from the Commonwealth storyline? Oh yeah, I guess we're gonna be getting into something that I don't like a little bit early, because there are a few other things that I liked about this episode, but I just want to get it over with so we can break this episode down in chunks. So yeah, this technically is a spoiler, I guess, even though it hasn't really been spoiled outright in the show. So if you don't want to be spoiled, probably skip about 3 to 5 minutes from this point in the video. But I want to talk about Stephanie. I think it's pretty easy to figure out at this point that that's not the real Stephanie. But for those of you who don't know, yeah, the Stephanie that we have on the show right now is not the actual Stephanie. I still think they're almost definitely gonna have her be fake Stephanie rather than not, because that'll be just fucking confusing. Why would you hire the actress who played the voice of Stephanie in season 10 as a different character in this show and have recasted her as somebody else? And have recasted her character of Stephanie with somebody else. So it's most likely that the actress is still playing Stephanie. It's just that it's a fake ploy by the Commonwealth to get more information out of Eugene. And if you haven't caught on already, the real Stephanie is the black chick who is the secretary to the governor, Pamela Milton, who is the governor of the Commonwealth. And the thing about this is, like, the plot itself, it's fine. Like, I'm enjoying it just fine. I think even the fake Stephanie actress is fine. Like, it's fine. The thing that bothers me about it is, why would you do this storyline in the final season? And my question is, how long are you expecting to keep this ploy on? Like, how long can we expect to not have Eugene find out that she is fake and that the real Stephanie is this chick? Because right now there's a growing relationship between Eugene and fake Stephanie, and that's cool and all, but that's not gonna matter once he finds out about the real Stephanie. Like, what's gonna happen with this time that we spend focusing on these two characters and their building up of their relationship? Like, that's gonna be wasted space that could have been spent with the actual Stephanie and Eugene bonding, because afterwards we're not gonna have as much time to spend on that. Because so, like, the storyline is fine, it's just that I feel like you should have prioritized your time better, because realistically, once the main show ends, we're never gonna see Eugene, we're never gonna see Stephanie, we're never gonna see a bunch of other characters from the shows as well. So because of that, even I'm like, why are you wasting valuable time? this is something that I'm gonna talk a little bit more once I cover all the good things about this episode, because it's an issue that's been bothering me whole season so far. Even if I've enjoyed about half of the episodes this season, I just still don't understand why they're taking so much time and focusing on stupid stuff and not on actually important stuff. And like give characters arcs over the course of this season to finally finish off their characters at the end of it. Like, I don't understand why they didn't just do that. Like, what is the character arc of Carol so far this season? Nothing. Just finding Connie, and they found her. What is Aaron's character arc? Non-existent. What is Gabriel? He's barely done anything. Odin, we haven't seen him in a few episodes, even though he's fucking built in the title credits. Same for Jerry. We've seen him in what, one or two episodes, I guess? Big deal, big help. I don't understand how these two characters can be in the title credits and not have pretty much any storylines and characters. They still feel like supporting characters. But this is more of an issue for the season as a whole, not specifically to this episode, so I don't want to talk about it too much, but it's an issue that's been bothering me. So yeah, what else was good about this episode? I really liked Negan's happy attitude this episode. He's been pretty moody whole season and just whining and complaining and moaning to Maggie about how he doesn't want to do this mission and everything. But in this episode, starting from the beginning, once they have a talk and she promises not to kill him going forward, try to kill him going forward, he's very happy. And he jokes around, and it was actually really entertaining and kind of refreshing after having him whine for most of this season so far. And all the scenes where he was teaching her how to walk as a whisperer was really fucking cool. I really enjoyed those scenes, but it was still all kind of ruined by that talking scene that they shared around the campfire, where they were talking about how this far into the apocalypse, there isn't many people to fight against. There's not many resources to fight over. So the point was, I guess, that they have to be ready to kill every single Reaper, because otherwise they're gonna come back and try to have revenge, because that's exactly what happened with the Reapers when they took over Meridian. And during that talk, they were talking about how Rick and co back in the past in season 6 attacked the outpost and attacked innocent-ish people, and how they were just as bad back then as they are right now. And then Maggie asks Negan, would he do what he did? Would he have changed anything if he could go back in time? And he says he would have. But he doesn't say that he would have tried to negotiate with Rick or something along those lines. He says that he would have killed them all. And like, again, similarly to episode 1, I get what they were going for with that line. It's been explained to me, and I get it. But it still fucking bothers me, because I feel like it goes completely against everything they've been trying to do with the characters in season 9. And I guess maybe it's just me having different expectations and misunderstanding what exactly they were trying to do with the characters in season 9, but at least in my eyes, what I think they were trying to do with the character is to kind of try to redeem him somewhat, where he could at least be considered a valuable member of the group and be tolerated in the communities, and maybe have somewhat of a friendly relationship with our group, like being like, you know how in anime usually there might be a certain character that is like a little bit more standoffish and more ruthless in their ways, but he's still considered a friend and a valuable member. I can't imagine Negan becoming this. But with lines like this and like the Glenn line, which at least that one for me right off the bat, it made sense what he was trying to say with it. And actually, it made sense he would say something like this if he was trying to be redeemed into this kind of like a asshole, but a friendly asshole position in the group. Because when he was mentioning Glenn's name, he was saying essentially that he didn't want to die like a dog, like Glenn did, because he now considers the way Glenn was murdered bad. At least that's how I see it. But with this statement in this episode, it's not necessarily instantly clear what exactly he means by that. Like, people have explained to me that it means that to protect himself and his group, he should have killed everybody in Rick's group. And if he did, the Saviors probably would still be a thing. Maybe. I don't know. But it's what any leader would do, what Maggie is doing right now. And she even tried to argue that they cannot be equated because the Saviors were assholes who killed people. And even Negan brings up that there were families in the Saviors and people with kids and everything. Like, for example, Gracie, who Aaron ended up adopting after Rick killed her actual father. But like, it just pissed me off. And even Maggie questions it. Why would you say that to me, she says. Because it's like, why would you tell that to her? Like, you're trying to redeem yourself to her. You're trying to build trust and make her accept you somewhat. And yet you go out of your way to essentially kind of antagonize her. Like, yeah, what he is saying is not necessarily personal, because he doesn't mean I would have killed all of you because you were all bastards and I would have loved murdering all of you, but more like he would have murdered all of them to protect his people. I get that, but it just really pissed me off at first, because I want Negan to be this kind of like a standoff, ruthless asshole who is a friend of the group kind of character. I thought he was becoming this kind of like an anti-hero character. And he even kind of had like a budding friendship growing with Daryl, but now it's kind of squandered in a way. It honestly just kind of feels like they're unnecessarily swinging it constantly left and right, with him saying shit like this and then redeeming himself. It's just like, why? Why didn't you just try to continue making him a nice guy going forward? Maybe some people are gonna complain, oh, they're making him a super nice guy. I don't buy it. I still hate him for killing Glenn and Abraham. And that's fine, but like, I just want them to pick a lane and stick with it. And I know they're still essentially doing that, but it just bothers me because my knee-jerk reaction is, why would you do that? I want to like him. I want him to become a hero who I can support. And it actually especially pissed me off because of what happened in Here's Negan. Because the way Negan was portrayed in that episode was essentially equating him to Rick in some ways. Because like, that has been kind of like the theme, that Rick and Negan are not really that different. And I agree with that. And this episode only cemented my opinion in that regard. But like, in that episode, current Negan says that past Negan was a cult of personality without a code. Well, why would he say that if he still says that if he went back in time, he would have killed everybody? I feel like if he genuinely believed that that was a cult of personality without a code, what he should have said is that he would have negotiated with Rick and maybe not been such a fucking ruthless asshole. But yeah, I don't know. It just bothers me like that, you know? But for the most part, like I said, I enjoyed all the learning how to be a whisperer scenes. Although I kinda am bothered by the fact that we kinda skipped over how Elijah learned how to walk like a whisperer, but that's fine, I guess. Um, Something that bothered me in regards to that storyline, though, is that once they learned it and they started walking and gathering walkers and everything, I mean, similarly to, I think it was episode 3 that I complained about this, of this season, where in that parking lot that Maggie was walking through after escaping the massacre in the forest, the cars looked very obviously CGI. And in this episode, we kind of had the same thing with the walkers, because like in one of the final shots, I think it was, of the episode, they are walking in front of a giant horde of walkers they are leading, and it's very, very easy to tell which walkers are actual people with masks who are actually there and who are CGI. And it just fucking bothers me. Like, is the budget really that fucking low? Like, at least for something with Fear the Walking Dead, that thing at the end of last season wasn't good looking or anything. It wasn't good CGI, but I can tolerate it because Fear is a much smaller show and has less money to work with. But the Walking Dead main show doesn't have the money to do fucking proper CGI? Or is it the time that's the problem? And like in season 10's finale, it was fine. Like back then when the walkers were falling over the cliff, I was okay with that because at least it looked pretty. And it's like they can't exactly do a more realistic or non-CGI way of walkers falling off a cliff. That is not really a pain in the ass, I feel like. I mean, they probably could, but still. But like in this episode, they really couldn't have gotten more people. And I know that I'm saying that in a time that COVID is still a thing, but it bothered me because it was very obvious, and I think it was like one of the final shots of the episode, so it was like the cherry on top of a shit pile. So that just kind of pushed me over the edge when I saw that. But I did like one of the final scenes there where Maggie and Elijah are walking and obviously leading the walkers, and Elijah's sister pops out as a walker. I really liked how Elijah was obviously sad about it and was crying and he was barely holding himself up, and Maggie calmed him down by grabbing his hand. I wonder whether they are trying to do Elijah as comic Dante. I'm not sure whether Maggie ends up being with comic Dante in the future storylines of the comics, but they, I think, have at least some kind of relationship, and Dante is into Maggie. And obviously, in the show, Dante was a very different character. So I wonder if they're trying to remake this storyline with Elijah as essentially what Dante was in the comic book. I actually thought that maybe they were going to be doing that with Cole, because visually Cole looked like comic Dante. But obviously Cole died. Very quickly, mind you. I thought he was gonna stay around for longer, but I guess not. And actually talking about Dante and, Cole and Elijah, why the fuck is Elijah not wearing his mask anymore? He wore it as recently as episode 3's opening when everybody was getting attacked. And for that matter, why are the fucking Reapers not wearing their masks anymore? This is something that happened as well with like the fucking Whisperers back in season 10. And I just don't understand it. Like, they were portrayed one way when they were introduced in season 9. They were much more horror based and much more kind of like a doomsday code. I feel like people who have lost normalcy and kind of believe that the walkers are there to protect them and everything. And then in season 10 they were just wackos who are just dressing as the dead and walking amongst them because that's how they live. And they even had cheesy and nonsensical Gimple-esque bullshit be recited by Beta and Alpha, where they say we are the end of the world, we are free, like that just felt weird. And similarly now the Reapers, they were these scary badasses with masks who threw knives and everything in episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. I mean, I guess we didn't have them in episode 1 and episode 2, we had them in episode 3. But now they don't even wear their masks, which is something I should have brought up even as recent as episode 5 when they were no, was it episode 6? I think it was episode 6 when they were at the stash point where Maggie, Negan, Elijah, and Gabriel were hiding. Like, even then, why the fuck were they not wearing their masks then? I just don't get it. And I guess that's pretty much it for all the things I liked about this episode. Like, it was mostly moments of these episodes that I liked. And obviously I've already mentioned a few complaints, but I think the biggest complaint about this episode that I have, that I kind of already talked about, is why the fuck are they wasting so much time about things that don't matter? And specifically what I'm talking about is that stupid fucking scene with Dario and Leah in the forest, meeting this rando and his family, and then killing his wife because she is already going to be dying. Like, why was that in the fucking episode? What the fuck was the point of that? Can somebody explain to me what was the point of that? Like, why? What does it bring? What does it bring to the season? Couldn't that time have been spent on some characters who haven't had enough screen time this season? Like, why couldn't have we gotten a few minutes with Jerry? Or Alden? Like, have some issue with Alden having to deal with a horde that is circling around the church, and maybe tease about the Reapers catching up to him and killing him there, or something along those lines, because Alden has done nothing. He was last seen in episode 3, and he's still in the church, and we have no information about him. And it's very likely that he's probably dead, but like, for somebody who was built in the opening of this show, in the theme, at the opening theme screen, he has not gotten anywhere near enough screen time. Like, why? And it's the same for Jerry. I don't know if I mentioned it already because I've been trying to record this video a couple of times, but like, why? Why can't I have this time in this episode focusing on this rando being even to one of them? This is the same shit. As I said, this is the same shit that pissed me off about the 7th episode of the 6th season of Fear the Walking Dead. In that episode as well, it was supposed to be an episode focusing on a character that I was excited to see being focused on. And then we got a fucking rando who was so fucking boring, I ended up skipping through the episode. Because it was so boring, I didn't give a shit, because I'm not invested, nor will I get anything from being invested, because that character is going to die, obviously, in the episode. So what was the point of that? Like, is that character going to help them bring down the Reapers or some way? Why? Why? We didn't even get much of weight from that interaction between Daryl and Leah. Like, what did that bring? At best, we understood that the simple reason why Pope is trying to kill Maggie is because they took over, obviously, their place, so they're trying to make sure that they're not going to be retaliated against. And that's kind of very boring. Especially considering how ominous it sounded back in episode 17 of the last season, the first of the 10C episodes, when that one Reaper with the gun and the ghillie suit said, "Pope marked you." You would think there was something more ominous and interesting behind it, like maybe God told him to mark Maggie and kill her, or maybe Maggie did something to Pope, like, I don't know, maybe convinced one of his people to abandon him aka Elijah, because he also loved wearing masks and shit. And it's like, at this point, the fans are making better storylines and having better ideas than the writers. Maybe they should hire some of us to write for these fucking shows, because they clearly can come up with cool shit. Because I even read one comment in the comment section for episode 8, because I have seen episode 8 at this point, that was reworking what the whole season until this point was about. And it's not like you need much to change it, to improve it. It's just that remove the useless bullshit. Like, for example, I complained about it, I think it was in like episode 2, which otherwise I fucking enjoyed, but the stuff with Dario, who was wandering around and seeing shit, didn't bring anything to the episode. It was just nothing. And I don't understand why it was there. Similarly, in this episode, I don't understand why we focused on these randos for 5 to 10 minutes. Like, why? Why? Who asked for that? Like, at least maybe with Dario, with focusing on Dario in that episode, I can understand, because Norman Reason is the top billed actor, so obviously they have to give him storylines, which I guess might be the answer to also why does Dario get all the cool shit recently, with like killing Beta last season in a very underwhelming way, and getting all the cool moments and saving everybody all the time. And that is probably because Norman Reedus is the top billed actor, so they give him that. Or maybe they've given him the power to decide when he wants to do this shit. I don't know. Because he was the one who thought that Beta should have died the way he did. And it's just fucking stupid. But yeah, again, ultimately, I think what I'm going to say about this episode, overall, it was fine. It was enjoyable as I was watching it, but it started to boil over with all the frustrations that I've had about this season so far. And I really hope that the second and the third part of this season are fucking better, because I don't want people to have a legitimate reason to hate on The Walking Dead again. But that seems like it's gonna be the case, at least for now. But again, we'll see. We'll see in the future. It's just that right now, I'm just more excited for Fear than anything else. I'm not really even excited to find out how the Reaper storyline ends. I'm just excited to get into Fear, because a fucking nuclear wasteland zombie apocalypse sounds much more interesting. But yeah, in terms of a rating for this episode, I don't know, I think I'm gonna give it like a 7.8 out of 10, which might be a little bit low, but that's kind of how I feel about it. It's not the worst, but it certainly could have been better. Before we end this video though, I just want to give a huge shout out and thanks to my currently one and only patron on Patreon, Omari Bridgman. If you want to join that person in supporting me on my Patreon, or maybe potentially you want to support me through some other websites like, for example, Ko-fi, which is another website very similar to Patreon, you can do that by going down in the description below and following the links to those two websites. Which one you want to support me through is up to you. If you don't want to support me monetarily, that's also up to you. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, check out the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me over there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you haven't enjoyed my stories, or you simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to Patreon where you can pledge your support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing the stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think it's pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!